nestled deep in the heart of the dark, sprawling forest stood the Waverly Mansion, an ominous relic of a bygone era. It had long been abandoned, its once grandiose facade now decayed, with ivy crawling up its walls like skeletal fingers. The townsfolk whispered tales of the mansion's cursed nature, claiming that anyone who entered never returned despite the warnings. Curiosity got the better of five adventurous friends: Emma, Alex, Rachel, Ben, and Steve. They decided to explore the mansion one stormy evening, convinced the stories were just old wives' tales. The journey to Waverly was fraught with an eerie silence, the only sounds being the rustling of leaves and the distant roll of thunder. As they approached, the mansion loomed over them, its broken windows resembling hollow eyes staring into their souls. The front door creaked open as if beckoning them inside. The darkness beyond more suffocating than the night itself. "Let's just get this over with," Ben said, trying to mask his unease. They entered the foyer, the air inside heavy with the scent of mildew and decay. Their flashlights flickered, casting long shadows that seemed to dance and writhe with a life of their own. In the hallway, portraits of the long dead Waverly family watched them with eyes that seemed to follow their every move. Emma shivered, feeling an inexplicable sense of dread. They moved deeper into the mansion, their footsteps echoing like ghostly whispers. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the old wallpaper peeling from the walls heightened their anxiety. The group decided to split up, hoping to cover more ground. Rachel and Steve took the left wing, while Emma, Alex, and Ben headed to the right. As they parted ways, a sudden chill filled the air, and the mansion seemed to exhale as if pleased with their decision. Rachel and Steve wandered through a series of rooms, each more decrepit than the last. They stumbled upon an old study, its bookshelves lined with dusty tomes. As Steve reached for a book, the entire shelf swung open, revealing a hidden passage. A sinister smile crossed his face. "Let's see where this leads." In the other wing, Emma, Alex, and Ben explored a parlor. A grand piano sat in the corner, its keys yellowed with age. Alex couldn't resist and pressed a key. The note hung in the air, discordant and jarring. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them. Emma rushed to open it, but it was locked tight. Panic set in as they realized they were trapped. Ben's flashlight flickered and died, leaving them in near darkness. "We need to find another way out," Alex said, trying to stay calm. They moved deeper into the parlor, discovering another door that led to a narrow staircase descending into the basement. Meanwhile, Rachel and Steve followed the hidden passage, which led to a decrepit ballroom. The walls were adorned with tattered tapestries, and an enormous chandelier hung precariously from the ceiling. The room was eerily silent, save for the faint sound of a music box playing a haunting melody. The music seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. As they approached the center of the ballroom, the music grew louder. Steve felt a hand on his shoulder and spun around, but no one was there. Rachel's eyes widened in terror as she saw ghostly figures materializing, dressed in the fashion of a century past. They danced slowly, oblivious to the intruders. Rachel screamed, and the figures turned their hollow eyes towards her, their expressions twisted in eternal agony. Back in the basement, Emma, Alex, and Ben stumbled upon an old wine cellar. The smell of rot was overpowering. They found a door at the far end, hoping it would lead to freedom. As they approached, Ben suddenly convulsed and collapsed. Alex and Emma tried to revive him, but to no avail. The shadows in the cellar seemed to close in around them, and they felt an unseen presence watching. Desperate, they dragged Ben's lifeless body through the door, which led to a network of tunnels beneath the mansion. The air grew colder, and they heard whispers echoing through the darkness. The tunnels twisted and turned, leading them deeper into the bowels of the mansion. Rachel and Steve's escape was blocked by the ghostly dancers, who now reached out with skeletal hands. The music box's melody grew frantic, and the chandelier above them began to sway ominously with no other option. They bolted for the nearest exit, only to find themselves in a mirror-filled room, their reflections twisted and contorted, showing grotesque versions of themselves. Steve's reflection grinned maniacally, stepping out of the mirror and grabbing him. Rachel screamed as her own reflection followed suit. Todd, Emma, and Alex, now separated from Ben, finally reached the end of the tunnels, finding themselves in a cavernous chamber beneath the mansion. In the center stood an altar surrounded by bones and arcane symbols. Emma's flashlight illuminated an ancient book lying open on the altar, its pages filled with indecipherable text. Suddenly, the chamber shook and the walls began to close in. The whispers grew louder, forming a cacophony of voices. Emma grabbed Alex's hand, and they ran towards a faint light at the end of the chamber. As they reached it, they found themselves back in the mansion's foyer, but something was different. The front door was open, and sunlight streamed in. They rushed towards it, but as they crossed the threshold, they realized they were no longer in the world they knew. The forest outside was twisted and dark, the sky a blood-red hue. The mansion had transported them to another realm, a place where fear and danger were eternal. Emma and Alex turned back to see the mansion's doors closed behind them. They were trapped, and there was no escape. The Waverly Mansion had claimed them, just as it had claimed countless others before. As they ventured into the unknown landscape, the mansion loomed in the distance, watching, waiting for its next victims.